Hi, my name is Dr. Kay, and in this presentation, we will talk about formulating research questions for your study. To start, here is an overview of what we will be covering. First, we will talk about why asking the right question is so important. Then, we will learn how to write effective research questions for qualitative, quantitative, and mixed method studies. Then, we will discuss aligning your research questions with your methodology and highlight common mistakes to avoid. Asking the right question is fundamental to the success of your research project. Remember, you will be committed to these questions for several semesters. They will shape your methodology, guide your data collection, and define your contribution to the field. Your questions must not only reflect your interests, but also be specific and answerable. Choosing the right question requires careful reflection and alignment with your research goals. These are some key characteristics that define a strong research question. A good research question is clear. This means it should be easy to understand and free of ambiguity. A clear research question ensures that everyone involved in the study, from researchers to readers, knows exactly what is being investigated. A good research question is focused. It targets a specific issue or problem, narrowing down the topic to something manageable. Avoid vague and overly broad questions, as these can lead to confusion and make your research difficult to carry out. A good research question is precise. It clearly defines the unit of analysis and whether you are studying individuals, groups, organizations, or processes. This helps ensure that your research procedures stay on track and that you are collecting data relevant to your study. A good research question is feasible. This means it can be realistically answered within the constraints of your time, resources, and scope. No matter how interesting your question may be, it should be one you can address with the available tools and the time you have. Finally, a strong research question is relevant. It should contribute to the field of study or help solve a real-world problem. Relevant research questions address gaps in knowledge, offer insights, or have practical implications that benefit society or the field at large. Let's begin by looking at qualitative research questions. Qualitative research questions are open-ended and typically begin with what, why, or how. They explore social phenomena, such as people's experiences, perceptions, and behaviors. These questions focus on understanding how social contexts shape people's experiences. To answer qualitative research questions, we use qualitative methodologies like interviews, focus groups, observations, or document analysis, all of which allow for in-depth exploration of our questions. These are examples of qualitative research questions that aim to provide deep insights into human experiences and social phenomena. Each question explores people's experiences and perceptions, whether it's faculty engagement in virtual programs, first-generation students' views on advising, international students' adaptation, or student affairs staff perceptions of the support provided. Each question focuses on lived experiences and is suitable for qualitative research. All questions from the previous slide share a few key characteristics that define them as qualitative. They all focus on participants' perceptions or experiences rather than measurable outcomes. Their goal is to explore meaning and understanding, not to quantify or test relationships. They all begin with open-ended phrases like what, how, or in what ways, which invite deeper reflection. These kinds of questions allow for rich descriptive data collection through interviews, focus groups, or observations. Importantly, they do not aim to test hypotheses or examine statistical relationships, which is the role of quantitative research. We will now shift to quantitative research questions. Quantitative research questions can be either open-ended or closed-ended. They can be formulated as either what is the difference between, or is there a difference between? These questions focus on exploring relationships, differences, or patterns between variables. They are designed to test assumptions or examine statistical relationships. To answer them, we use quantitative methodologies such as surveys, test scores, or existing data sets, which allow for the collection and analysis of numerical data. Here are some examples of quantitative research questions designed to examine measurable relationships or differences between variables. All questions examine measurable relationships, differences, or effects, such as program impacts, comparisons between groups, and predictors or outcomes. All questions are designed for statistical analysis using numerical data. All questions on the previous slide share the key characteristics of quantitative research. They focus on measurable variables like retention rates, satisfaction levels, or learning outcomes. Their purpose is to examine relationships, differences, or effects between variables. To answer these questions, you will need to collect numerical data that can be analyzed statistically. Depending on the design, that might involve descriptive statistics like means and frequencies, or inferential methods like t-tests, correlations, or regression. Now let's look at mixed methods research questions. Mixed methods research questions combine both quantitative and qualitative approaches to provide a comprehensive understanding of a research problem. These questions address gaps that may be left by studies using only one method. Typically, mixed method studies include separate research questions for the quantitative and qualitative components, along with an overarching question that ties both methods together. This ensures that the two approaches complement each other to enrich the findings. Remember that for a mixed method study, you need to have two separate data collections, one quantitative and one qualitative. These examples of mixed methods research questions show how both quantitative and qualitative approaches can be combined. The first question is quantitative, as it examines the relationship between two measurable variables, workload and job satisfaction. The second is qualitative, as it asks how faculty describe the impact of workload in their daily lives. The third is an integration question that connects the two by exploring how the statistical trends align with faculty members' lived experiences. Together, they offer a comprehensive understanding of the issue. The questions on the previous slide share key features of mixed methods of research. They combine both quantitative and qualitative components to explore a complex issue from multiple perspectives. These questions investigate measurable relationships like workload and satisfaction, as well as subjective experiences such as how faculty perceive those issues. They include both open and closed-ended formats and are designed to allow for integration of finding by connecting statistical trends with lived experiences. The goal is to gain a more comprehensive understanding than either method could provide on its own. Over the next few slides, we will explore how different types of research questions guide the choice of methodology and influence the selection of your data collection and analysis. Methodology alignment refers to ensuring that your research methods are consistent with the type of research question being asked. As we already covered, qualitative methodologies are best suited for open-ended questions that explore social phenomena. Quantitative methodologies are appropriate for questions aimed at testing relationships or differences between variables. Mixed methods approaches combine both qualitative and quantitative methods, offering a comprehensive view of the research problem. To maintain clarity and ensure consistency, we often use alignment tables to visually map how our research questions and methodologies align. Using an alignment table will help you visualize how your research questions align with your methodology. As you can see in the first row, if you are using a qualitative design, your questions should be open-ended and focused on understanding lived experiences or perceptions. To examine how employees describe their experience with remote work, we need to collect data using interviews, focus groups, observations, or document analysis. In the second row, you can see the alignment for quantitative research questions, which are designed to test relationships, differences, or effects between measurable variables using numerical data. To test the relationship between work conditions and job satisfaction, we need quantitative data, such as surveys, job satisfaction scores, or other types of quantitative data sets. In the third row, you can see how mixed methods questions combine both. To ask if employee perceptions align with their measured productivity, we need to have both quantitative and qualitative data. In the next few slides, we will go over the most common mistakes in formulating your research questions. One of the most common mistakes in writing research questions is that they are too broad or vague. For example, asking what causes burnout among student affairs employees is too general and hard to measure. A better version would be what workplace factors contribute to burnout among student affairs employees at research universities. This narrows the focus and makes the question answerable. Similarly, asking what challenges do first-generation students experience in college is vague. Instead, we can ask, what academic and social challenges do first-generation students face during their first year of college? This type of question is focused and precise, making it more likely to be successfully answered. Another mistake is writing questions that are not measurable. For instance, asking how do student affairs employees feel in their workplace is too broad, unclear, and even subjective and emotional. How will you measure feelings? Instead, you could ask, how do student affairs professionals describe their experience with organizational support and workplace climate at mid-sized public universities? This question is grounded in concrete experiences. Similarly, asking how effective is the new faculty orientation is too general, as you have not defined what elements of the orientation or effect you are seeking to investigate. Instead, you could ask, how do newly hired faculty members perceive the effectiveness of orientation programs in supporting their transition to the expectations of a research-intensive university? This question is focused, specific, and more likely to be successfully investigated. Misalignment between your research questions and methodology is another frequent issue. For example, if you're using quantitative survey research, it would not be appropriate to ask, how do student affairs employees describe the factors that lead to burnout? This is a qualitative question that focuses on people's experiences. Instead, you could ask, what is the relationship between student affairs employees' job satisfaction and voluntary turnover rates? This question is quantitative and can be addressed with survey data. For a qualitative study, avoid questions such as, what is the impact of the professional development program on new faculty retention? To measure impact or effects, you need quantitative methods. A better version would be, how do new faculty members perceive the value of participating in professional development programs with respect to their decision to remain in the institution? To conclude the presentation, let's go over a few key takeaways. Research questions are the foundation of your entire study, so it is essential to spend ample time crafting them to ensure clarity and focus. Be sure to carefully word each question in alignment with your intended methodology and use the alignment table as a guide. Always remember that your questions must be answerable. This means you should be able to collect the necessary data within your time, resources, and scope. And finally, do not be afraid to ask for feedback. Reach out to your faculty before finalizing your research questions. Getting their input early will save you time later. Thank you for watching this video. I hope this information will be useful as you decide on best questions to guide your study.